Hi, this is going to be a weekend review for the fourth week of school, I think it is. And so this week I was out of town for the first 3 days, and I was back in town for Thursday and Friday, back at work and everything too. But um, so this week at school was very challenging, probably is the best way to describe it. The kids, um, I think were not doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Um, right now, I think AJ is doing the best. And I think it's because AJ has this motivation of getting done with his work so he can play video games. So he has a motivation. Elizabeth, on the other hand, Prince, get down, get down, off. So Elizabeth, so I have hoping I've given her motivation. I told her that she needs to um do better in school or she gonna have to quit her job. So I supposed to sit down with her and help her work through that so we can see how much time I'm going to give her to get on track. Because I just feel like by now she should have it managed. Because it's almost been a year since she's had a job and she's actually been doing schoolwork too. Now, Alicia, now she is my 11-year-old. Now, the expectation for 11-year-old to be very motivated and um, independent is slim. So Alicia is not the type. She, well, if she was doing something like playing video games or watching videos, yeah, she'll stay on a schedule and she'll be on it. That is not what she needs to do. What she needs to do is her work. And so we're working on trying to get her. I'm trying to, once again, it's like pulling teeth with my older kids to help me out in that area. So we're there again with that. Now, I feel like I need to be patient, right? As we're trying to do much better over the weeks. But there has to come a tipping point when we must do better. Currently, because I'm still going into the office, um, it was it was similar to, well, not similar to going in the office because I wasn't here in the evening to try to pick up some pieces. So the advantage of me being home after work, I get to pick up some pieces. And so I didn't have the advantage to pick up pieces um, through the week. So no daily scrum. We didn't do Google Meet. We didn't do anything. Talked to them on the phone a little bit. Try to encourage them to help me out with Alicia. And Alicia is, I gotta find something tangible for her that's gonna motivate her. AJ, his motivation is video games. So he's doing the best right now because he loves to play video games. So he is really getting work done that he needs to get done. Elizabeth, on the other hand, she's not getting motivated at all because I think right now her motivation is nothing because she's working. And so now I'm telling her if you don't get your work done, you may have to quit your job. So she doesn't want to quit her job. So hopefully we can sit down and we can figure out exactly, you know, are we getting all the requirements we need for high school, from a credit perspective, and then also what other things that we need to do. Are we doing things that we don't need to be doing? Those kind of things. So I want to work through those things and make sure she's not doing extra work that she don't necessarily need to do. So I really do need to sit with her and let's write down and figure out ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, that kind of thing. What courses has she been doing so we can get all that documented, which is my fault that I don't have a transcript for her already. But it is on my to-do list to get the transcript together and AJ to work on his as well because he is ninth grade now. I think he does have some 10th grade things that he's doing too. So, but I have to figure all it out. I got to get all his stuff ready too, all his transcript ready and get that rolling as well. Now, Alicia, so I think I have a motivation with her as well too, because she loves to play her little video games or watch videos of other people doing playing video games. So if I can take that from her, just like I would take away Elizabeth's job, maybe that's going to be her motivation as well too. So that is the plan with those two girls, using the things that they want and taking them away from them if they're not performing up to expectations. I'm not even looking for excellence right now. I'm just looking for some consistency and then we can move on. We can move on from there. Now, another thing about this week started on September the 1st is um an- animation is back up and running. So there was a couple of hiccups there because when the automation was back up, we did not have like a sprint planning to get things prepared that Friday at all. And first of all, we couldn't because I wanted things to be moved that Monday when because it fell on a Monday, which kind of put a monkey wrench in things with the first being a Monday. So that threw a monkey wrench in the whole automation piece. And then it would put a due date of Monday, the following Monday. So, a little bit of a hiccup there. So it made me think that I need that dog. Oh, gracious life. I don't know what he's doing. But he's doing something. Maybe not he don't supposed to be doing either. Prince, what are you doing? So so I may create another condition. So if it's moved on Monday, I'm gonna make the due date still that Friday. That's the plan. Okay. That it'll be on a Friday that week instead of pushing it the Monday the following week. That's what I need to do there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. So yeah. So that's a modification I need to do this week with the automation. But other than that, I was getting the emails about the grades, um, which was very helpful because I had to put in the week prior to that 18 grades, no, 13 grades. And it took about 8 minutes. Yeah, which is not a long time. But it was all in one sitting. I had to put those grades in. This time I had about three or four, something like that to do. I was able to do those grades, put them in there. I did not sync my data in Tableau. And Tableau, what I'm doing with the Tableau sync of data is really me playing around in Tableau because of data analytics. Because I want to learn how to learn data analytics. I'm using this data to help me do a presentation, of being able to do some data visualization. So, because all my grades, I'm keeping it in Excel and using the spreadsheets to keep track of their progress report slash report card for the year. So I'm using that, using VLOOKUP, because I don't know if I told you this, but all the grades is on one spreadsheet. And yes, I did because I remember saying this and thinking it was too techy. But when you have one child, it's okay to have multiple folders. But in this case, so folders, if you think about folders, you would think about spreadsheets, okay, or worksheets. Instead of having one child or a child with five folders, I have one folder with all of their information just in it. But in this case, I got three kids' information in one folder. And then I have some functions that I'm using, some formulas, if you will, or automation, if you will, where it is looking on that in that one place and doing the organization for me. So it's like having an agent. So an agent or a secretary or admin assistant. So I'm putting all my stuff in one folder and then through the spreadsheet, it is being my agent that goes in there and said, "Oh, I'm Elizabeth's agent. So I'm gonna get all Elizabeth's stuff and organize it and average it out every quarter. And then, oh, I'm AJ's agent, so every worksheet or yeah, worksheet has its own agent. So they are going in there looking and getting information that they need out of the main folder. and put it in their folder in a very organized way. So at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter, it doesn't really matter. Just during the year, I'm able to see what the grade is, the current grade at any given time. Like right now, Elizabeth, we're in week 4 is complete. Um, really week 3? I think we've only had 2 full weeks. Okay, the 2 weeks has been kind of hit and miss, but she has yet to provide. She hasn't finished the chemistry yet, so that's something I need to be looking at. Okay, what's up with chemistry? What do you need? You know, those kind of questions I need to be asking because I feel like she should already have provided something with chemistry. And and AJ, I can't remember. There's something he hasn't, but it's an elective. It's art. Does not have an art grade yet. Um, and then there is for Alicia. She doesn't have English. Oh yeah, she does have English. No, no English. Um, no science or history. We in the fourth week. We should have at least every subject right now should have at least one grade. And so we have subjects that don't have grades right now. So they haven't taken any quizzes or exams for that yet. So I'm gonna be looking into that too. So we will probably have a planning scrum planning today, or sprint planning, I should say, because we need to get ready for Monday. I need to make sure they're ready for tomorrow. So we will do that. Currently, the Sunday, Alicia is working on her science test. She also has an English test that she needs to do because she didn't get a chance to do it this week at the end of the week. So we're doing it this weekend. Okay. Now, I don't like doing it to them, but I don't want to fall behind either. Okay. On these particular things. I don't want to start the week out them taking tests when, because I feel like you're always going to be behind. 'Cause either I push everything else due date out or we use the weekend. We leverage the weekend, which I think makes total sense to me. That sometimes, even, in the real world, per se, you may have to make some sacrifices and do something like this, do something on the weekend. Like, even on my job, I'm trying not to get into the weekend mode when it comes to work, but I know I will have to. And it's not because the job is going to force me to, it's because there's certain things that I'm interested in and I'm going to have time on the weekend to do it. I have time on the weekend to research something that I need to research that I've been trying to figure out, and I'm in that mode, learning mode, because it's a learning mode for sure. Yes, it's going to be good for the company, but it's also good for me to know, right? So I always look at that too. Is this also going to be beneficial to me personally and not just the the employer? Okay, so for me as the employee, I will benefit as well with this particular tidbit information. So, yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. With I don't want to make a habit of using their weekend for anything work related. I wanted them to have the weekend. And but one thing that the weekend needs to include is some organization for sure. So it is a lot of areas we can grow in for sure. Um, because even if you look here, you see this desk. This is my actual this is my podium. It's pretty nice too. But this is junky. Um, and there's a pile of things over here that probably need to be dealt with. So there's some organization things I would like to do too. So hopefully over time you will see behind me because I'm not going to blur any of this mess out. This is the mess. This is where it's at. This is where we are. And so a lot of organizational things that happen. Also too, I kept my little sprint little thing up there. It's just now as it's just a reminder. It's not I don't even use it right now. I don't even know if I'm going to use it again. Not this year for sure. So, I'm glad, I guess, that I'm glad to be working. I'm glad the kids are in school for sure. Some people started their school a little bit later than us. We started early. And and maybe everything is, we'll catch up or we extend our school out 2 weeks, whatever, 3 weeks. I don't know. Whatever we need to do, right? To get things done. And because we're not necessarily on a timetable. Now, the one thing I would like to do, that's with Elizabeth, because of her, just how things outside of the house work when it comes to a student being a senior and what that looks like and what that senior wants to have done. I want to make sure I've dealt with her in a way that she's pretty happy about where she is when she's done. Okay. I want to sit down with her future self, right? Her future self. And let's make sure that we can get that future self where that future self wants to be come at the end of the school year. Okay. So that's one thing I want to do with her. And there's some other personal things I want to do with her as well too. Like bank account, those other kind of things that I need to do with her as well. Um, I got some books I want her to kind of peruse, read if she will. I don't know if she will or not, especially with working geometry and chemistry. And I want to give her some books about investments. I don't know if she's going to do that or not, or if she's just going to just take my advice, which is probably okay. Um, but um, but it's things that I'm trying to learn. And I sort of wanted her to also learn some of these things so she can also make some of her own decisions about her money instead of me making all the decisions right now about her money. It's her money. She's earning her money. And yeah, so I'm gonna work with her on that. AJ, same thing. I want to so when he starts working the same thing. So I sort of treat them the same, not because they're the same age or anything like that. Um, but so it's really personal. Um, Instead of teaching American history 3 times, I'm hoping to only teach it twice. Same thing with geometry. So AJ is going to do geometry with Elizabeth. So hopefully all I have to do is teach geometry one more time. Okay. So and I'm trying to do videos too. The videos I'm not doing very well. But yeah, and that's another thing. This week I didn't do any videos, no content for them, no American history, no um geometry. And but I think I did have a class with them last week, I think, or the week before. We did have a class. So, and that's what I'll probably do sometime too, is just do a class. It won't be recorded, but it'll be a class that I do for them. So I want to get back into I'm hoping to do some content today because I'm gonna need some content for um geometry. American history, I'm good to go because they slacked off last week and didn't do anything, which I've already did week 3 videos, so they can use week 3 content and gives me a whole week to get some content for American history. American history is easy to do content-wise because it's really I don't need no PowerPoint presentation. I'm not searching for nothing online. I'm not trying to use the whiteboard, whatever. So it's a little bit easier, at least for now. There may be a time where I probably want to show a picture or something like that. When we get there, I'll hopefully still it won't make it that long. Now, I have incorporated current events a little bit, and it's sort of it's not planned ahead as I would like it to be, but it's included as well too because I want current events to be part of it. Um, and so I have a resource that I'm using for that, which is I think it's like the 5 minute in history or something like that. But there's other things too from a history standpoint. This is American history. So the current events are coming from American history or for American. And then the other thing I want to do too, there's a couple of podcasters that I want to turn them on to as well, or at least have some clips from those as well, especially when it comes to current events. Because this podcast, it handles current events, but from a Christian perspective. But at the same time, I think these are very interesting things, especially if it brings up politics, because it's also this one of the podcasts that I listen to is also part is political too. So it's a political podcast, current events as well. And so that particular one I like as well, and it will most definitely provide um some interesting things due to the our current president that we have, um, President Donald J. Trump, right? Which I think should go down in history as one of the um, best presidents that we've ever had in the past couple of decades. I think he should be. He's doing some things that are very unorthodox. He's stepping outside the status quo, and those kind of things. And he's doing this with a lot of courage, knowing that people hate him and don't want him doing it. But I think he believes it's the right thing to do. So for a person to stand up and do something because they believe it to be the right thing to do, regardless of this consensus, I think that is to be commended. Now, there are some areas where he's doing the opposite. Um, and in an example of that would be abortion, right? So he's not an abolitionist. So he wants to stay politically popular. So he's found a a way to say, okay, if you want to be elected, you need to say um, you can't be an abolitionist when it comes to abortion. You have to have some caveats there, and that is this here probably should even be on this video because this has nothing to do with the week. So, but I'm gonna go on and say it since I've already started it, right? You know, uh, the the health of the mother, or rape, or incest. These are the exceptions to have an abortion. But if you really look at it as a whole, is there really ever a reason you want to kill a baby? You want to kill a baby because of these three things? And first of all, these things are very rare in the grand scheme of things. And, the baby is a life. It's a life. So, and why are we choosing who lives and who dies? Why are we sentencing the baby to death when the man raped the woman? Okay. There go your rape, right? He raped her, but the sentence of death is put on the baby. Okay. Incest. That was not the baby's fault either. Once again, sentence to death. Almost saying you're guilty because the wages of sin is death. So you're sentencing the baby to death for something that they did not even do. Okay. Didn't have a choice. Okay. And then the other one, which is the health of the mother. That's a mute point. First of all, in the hospital, the doctor will try to say both. There's nothing legal against the doctor saying, oh, we're going to take this baby in order to save this woman's life. So there's nothing illegal about that already. So I don't even know what we're talking about there. Okay, the health of the mother. Okay, and then there's been cases where women have listened to the doctor, well, listened to what he said, and he's saying, "Look here, if we don't take the baby, you may die." And she's like, "We don't know that. Only God knows." Of course, that's not exactly how they said it, but I'm saying it like this, and they end up both living. So the doctor is not this been out, the end all be all, whatever. He doesn't have the final say. God has the final say. So he can give his best opinion on something, but still it's her choice. Now, if it's a life and death, she's coming into hospital, and then they assess, boom, 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 we gotta do what we gotta do, type of thing. Nobody's gonna go to prison for that. So it's not even an issue on the table. So it's a mute point. So there is no reason to murder a baby. Okay? There's no reason to murder a baby. You can call it abortion if you want to, but it's murder. Okay. It's a life at conception. At conception, it's life. Okay, so I done got on this little soapbox here. This is supposed to be the weekend review, but we can call this bonus. This is a bonus. This is a bonus, right? To talk about something so, but the point is basically, I still think Donald Trump is a really good president, and I voted for him 3 times. And but I do not agree with that. I believe he should just trust God. And but he may not believe it anyway, right? If he believes that that abortion is wrong, an abortion should never be a thing. Um, but he did say they took it back to the states. Let the states deal with it. That's what everybody wanted to do. Now, he's pushing the responsibility when he wants to protect all life, every citizen's life of this country, and the baby is a citizen too, right? Not quite realized citizen, but they're going to be a real citizen soon. So they already are being protected as citizens before they even get out of the womb. So they need to be protected in the womb too. And we know there's cases where a woman, if she was murdered and she's pregnant, with homicide, right? Those kind of things. So we already are taking account in that particular regard for it being a life. Let's go ahead and take it all the way. It's a life. It is a created being already, has life, just at a different stage of life. We all been there. We all was a fetus, if you want to say a fetus, right? Which is a medical term, right? It's a baby at different stages of life. Okay? At stages, it's a stage of life. We had to go all through those stages of life. So it's not like it's something that a clump of cells, whatever whoop to do. But even if it was just a clump of cells, we were there too as a clump of cells and look at the potential we are now. So, yeah, so I don't know. I think he should, you know, trust the Lord. Leave it all on the Lord on this regard. There's some things I'm praying, and maybe that's a video to do too, right? My prayers for President Donald Trump, right? Maybe that's one to do too. But yeah, this is it. I do not want to keep going on and on because we know I can do that for sure. But overall, I want to say it was a good week. Um, it- my work week was only 2 days and it went by so fast. There's so much that has to be done starting on Monday as well. I'm already feeling the weight, and this is me doing the weight. I don't think my job is doing that weight. It's me. It's how I like to deal with it, right? And that weight that I'm carrying that I've decided to pick up, right? So there's some things that I'm learning on the job, and I'm getting pretty good at it. I think we'll see. We shall see. I still need a couple more weeks into the gig, and I need some documentation too. I think once I get some documentation down on some of our processes, I will feel a little bit better. And our SOPs or whatever you want to call them, right? Standard operating procedures, whatever you want to call it. To get some of those things kind of written down because there's things we do and we're responsible to do day to day, but there's nothing to show for it. Like I don't see it. Pretty sure people got their own little cheat sheet, but we don't have a go to. Like this is what we do. Okay. And then what are we doing these nuances? Like, yeah, none of that's written down either. So there's things like this thing that happened last week on the job. Um, it is something that most definitely it needs to be covered somewhere because for some reason I think this may happen again. So it's something that we need to really think about. But that will be covered in our SOP, right? So yeah, I don't know. We have a long ways to go there. Right now it looks like a lot of things are going on, but I am thankful to the Lord for His mercy, His grace, His goodness, His loving kindness toward us, and and there's some good things happening. So I'm excited about just things in general, and I'm trying not to get too um, what's the word? Overexcited. tested some things that are non-essential, okay, which I'm most likely to do eventually, but we'll see. But I think overall everything cool, looking good. I'm so glad that I'm having this opportunity to begin a journal in this kind of way, but hopefully over the course of the months, years, whatever, Lord willing, that I'll get some really good fruit out of this. Okay. Till next time.